to get fluency in English because I want to get some jobs from other countries.
That's really nice. I think now we can start. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Luan. Now I'm 20 years old. I'm from Belém do Pará. Now I'm at college. I study chemical engineering. And what I like to do, there's a lot of things, but mainly I love reading. I think this is my mainly, this is the mainly activity that I do in my free time. I love reading. Now, Liani, can you introduce yourself, Liani? I don't know if Liani can hear us or send a message to her in the chat. I think she has a problem in her computer, and she tries to fix it. I think we can start so we don't lose our time. The first question is, what is the importance of having responsibility in our lives? Diego, can you start answering this question?
And we need I will try to speak, but my English is very poor. But I will try to speak and expose my opinion about this theme. I need to have a responsibility to make some things in many areas in our life, because if you it's very important, because to have a balance, in our life. So it's so important to in our life to balance, and yes, it's so important, because if you have a family or work, we need to have a responsibility to forward in our life, no? Yes, yeah. So that's it.
Thanks for sharing, Diego. I totally agree with your point of view, and adding more to it. I think that having responsibility in our life is really important to we deal with our activities. For an example, when we get a job, we have to have responsibility to deal with the activities that we are going to develop there. In our studies, it's important to have responsibility to study the things and get good grades. I think in this way, having responsibility is very important, and in other points of our lives too. And what about you, Vinicius?
And I think that the responsibility is very important for us, because it's important for we keep some friendship, some relations, and some jobs, and I think that for all the things that we have a meet, no, compromise, I don't know, I don't remember how to say, but it's important we have responsibility to keep the relations we have in our life.
Really nice, Vinicius. Good point of view. Thanks for sharing. And how about you, Luis Filho Neto?
I think responsibility is something that we learn, and we learn with our parents. We learn with people who who are a mirror for us, and I think is very important because it's a guide for what I want to do in my life. It's put the things in a way that we can measure, can see what is important, what isn't important, and I think is that.
That's really nice. Thanks for sharing. And what about you, Luis?
So, in my opinion, we, in my case, we don't want responsibilities, but we must have responsibilities because it makes we grow up. And I think just with responsibility, we we can grow up.
It's really cool. Thanks for share. Leonie, are you there? I think Leonie is not there because I sent message to now she go back. So now we can move to the next question. Do you consider yourself as a responsible person, Diego?
Yes, I'm I consider it myself uma person person responsible because today I have a family, I have children, I have many bills to pay, and I need to be responsible in my life. If if I don't have a responsible, I wouldn't have achieved anything in my life. Okay, my children, I have two boys, need see responsible in my life, in my attitudes, and some things I do, because I learn, they learn see me, make things, and when I say things and teaching things about the life, and so I'm considered, but I think the responsible, it's equal, it's the same, the discipline and organization, yes, in our lives. I consider it but I need to improve more these responsibilities because yes, I consider it, but I need to improve more.
It's really good point. Thanks for sharing, Diego. And what about you, Vinicius?
Yes, I consider myself a responsible person in the most things that I propose to do, but there's some things that I'm not very responsible. I need to improve my responsibility in some aspects of my life. But I think that in general, I am a responsible person.
And what about you, Luis?
Well, I think responsibility comes together with adult life. So I'm considered a responsible person, but as Diego and Vinicius told, responsibility is something that we always can improve because we learn with our mistakes. We see the things in a different way when we grow old. So it's a process.
And what about you, Luis?
So I don't consider myself very responsible because I spend a lot of money in many things I don't need. And that's it. The last year, I think I become more responsible because I get married. So nowadays, I like Diego said, I have bills to pay. So that's it.
I was like,
Congratulations. You married today in this year?
No, in the true, I am living with her, but uh, we are going to marry next year.
Okay.
oh, that's pretty nice.
Okay.
I was laughing of Luis because when he said about buying things unnecessary, I see it myself because I do this. Shopee and Amazon take all my money every single month, but I'm very irresponsible at this point because the credit card it's mine, but the bill is not who pays. The bill is my mom, so that's why I don't have responsibility of it. She's hearing that right now, but she can understand. So that's
Sure.
okay.
Yeah. Um,
In
it's
this
all
point,
because the credit card.
yeah, that's true. In this point, I'm a very irresponsible person. But when I look to my studies, to things from college and from my job, I'm totally responsible in this point. But of course, I have a lot of things to improve. I think I'm the youngest one here in this meeting. But today I'm 20, and this is not oh my god, I forget the word. Desculpa. But I think at this age, a lot of people don't have uh, a lot of responsibility to develop yet. I don't know if you get them. I'm sorry about my bad English, but it's that. I think now we can go to the next one. Did you any of you want to add something else? Oh, if you want to ask something related to any of these questions, feel free. You can interrupt me anytime and say, guys. The next question is, at what age do you think some people becomes responsible for his or her actions? Diego, what do you think?
It's very deep question. It's very hard. Difficult question. But I teach my son. My old son has 12 years, and I teach him about the responsibility, and he's a responsibility to good boas notas, né? In the college, good grades in the college, and do the exercise every day. Today nowadays he makes the exercise, the common exercise every day, math exercise, and but I teach the responsibility very, very young. Yes, teach him, but and I think the people, the young people, responsibility for your actions, 12, 30, I don't know the actions, but my son, I teach my son has a responsibility in your life, in your actions, and yes, yeah, that's it. That's it.
I got your point of view. It's like at each age we have some responsibilities. For example, when we are 12, we have like small responsibilities, and for that age, it's okay to have this responsibility. But when we are 30, we have more responsibility, so we have to develop more. So
Yeah.
I think something like this, right?
Yes. Okay.
And what about you, Vinicius? What do you think?
And I think that there's no specific age to take to someone become responsible for his acts, because there are some people who takes this responsibility for his age, like Diego mentions, at a very young age. But there's some people that very old and don't take the responsibility for their actions. I think that's is the thing that has a lot of factors. There's the education. Some people take responsibility because of education, but I think that have a component, a personal component, because some people have the same education and one is responsible and another not very responsible, or uh, sometimes nothing responsible. And I think that North can have a definite age.
That's really good, Vinicius. When I decided to bring this question, that I thought about this specific one. This is the point that I imagine that you are going to bring to. And what about you, Luis Felipe?
Yes, I agree with you guys. I think depends on several things. As you said, it depends on the environment where you grow up, depends on the situations you are in, depends on the several things. I think it's too hard to to fix it one age to this. Depends the each person, and knows no just the responsibility, but also the other things, like I don't know, like everything related with virtues. I think is in this case of how when you becomes responsible, when you becomes I don't know. It's a subjective metric.
It's exactly this word. It's subjective. I was trying to remember this word. Thanks, Luis. And what about you, Luis Eduardo?
So, in my opinion, mm, oh my god, I forgot. In my opinion, I think there's no age that we can say, but I think when you understand how word works, you have to be responsible for your actions.
Very profound words. That's really nice words.
How do you find out my second name?
Oh, this is not Comercial do Itaú. I found your name because when you subscribe, you have to make you have to
Yes,
put your
easier.
name, and I got it here. Now we can go to the next question. Who has more responsibilities for the environment, companies or individuals? What do you think, Diego?
So it's certainly individuals. It's more responsible to the environment because but if the individuals don't have a good education in your house, in your home, the people, the individuals, the people don't. Yes, the people no responsibility for the environment. Yes, if you have the people, see the people, the individuals don't have a parents, and the parents se preocupam, né, que they care of education, to teach education for your children, but these individuals growing up, but no education, but no haven't responsibility to ambient, to environment. Do you understand?
Yeah, I got your point.
Yes, do you understand? But the education, a responsibility you learn in home. If you have parents que se preocupam, I don't have, I forget the words.
I think cares is good to use. Cares.
Yes, cares and the teach education for the child, because the education it's yes, I forget. That's it.
Don't worry. And what about you, Vinicius?
And I think that individuals as companies has responsibility for the environment, because the environment it's important for all of us, and the companies is made by individuals, it's a group of individuals, and we have start this responsibility find the environment, like Diego says, in home with your parents in education, and we have to bring this for the companies and make the laws of companies and the rules of companies that can responsibility. I think that companies have to I don't know what to say, had to feel, I think that companies have to feel responsible for the environments as like the individuals. I think that depends on the impact on the environment. The companies has more significant impact than individuals. I think that it's both companies and individuals.
That's really good, Vinicius. Thanks. And what about you, Luis Felipe?
Can I choose an other option?
Yeah, but it's related. Yeah, go ahead.
This environment you are talking about, meio ambiente. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I think the thing that has more responsibility for the environment is the state, not individuals itself, and not the companies, because all begins with political. And I think the way if with people answer to it, it's related with these political actions. If they are hard, the things are gonna happen. If they are soft, the things happen more slowly. I think is the state.
That's a really good option. It's it's related. It's totally related to it. That's really nice. I will reform this question and put this option. That's really good. Thanks, Luis. And what about you, Richard? What?
So I think this environment of this question is for companies and not the meio ambiente tipo selvagem. I think because and it depends on the context because if you don't have a good relationship with your work colleague, it's responsibility of the individuals. But if you don't have a good work environment because of the company, so it's responsibility of the company.
It's okay. Thanks for sharing this. The next question is, do you consider yourself more responsible or irresponsible? I think we have already answered this one when we answered the second question, so we can skip. The next one is, make decisions is an act of responsibility. Do you agree with this sentence? What do you think, Jib? Do you agree with that?
Yes, make decisions, make good decisions. It's is an act of the good of responsibility, but make decisions and decision and decision and yes, decision make good things and when yes, I can't the explanation this question, but I agree with this sentence.
And what about you, Vinicius?
Yes, I agree with this sentence because I think that when more responsibility we takes, more decision we have to make in a company. You when you are in the career, I will just have ascension in career. We can see that what make you have this extension is how many decisions we have to make, and I think that is totally related. I think one with another.
That's really good. And what about you, Luis Felipe?
Oh, I have to disagree again. I think everyone make decisions being or not responsible. The thing is, as Diego says, it's making the right decisions, but the right decisions depends on the point of view of each person. Someone can make a decision that for him or for her, it's very responsible, but for a people outside the situation, this decision can be not responsible. I think I disagree with this sentence.
And what about you, Luis Eduardo?
So yeah, in my opinion, making decision is an act of responsibility, because the decision can be good or can be bad, but you have the responsibility in your decision. So that's it.
I also agree with this statement, because when I think about when I think I have to make a decision, I always think that I have to make a good decision. So if it's a good decision, it's a responsible decision. It's like when I walking on the street and I decide to cross the street with the signal for it's not available for, oh my god, forget it. Quando o sinal não está aberto. So this is a bad decision and a irresponsible decision in my point of view. So in this case, for giving this example, I agree with this sentence. The next question is, do you think it's important to assume the consequence of your actions? Why? Diego, what do you think?
Yes, it's important to assume the consequence if you consequence of your actions, because you and or your family suffer the consequence. Yes, suffer the consequences. So it's important to assume and make good right decision to things to be better. The things make yes, and colher, né? So reap the good things and good life, and when I assume the consequence and the responsibility.
And what about you, Vinicius? What do you think?
Yes, I think that's important. Assume the consequence of our actions, and because I think that is the most effective way that we can improve ourselves as person in a lot of aspects of our life.
And what about you, Luis Felipe?
Yes, of course. I think this is the maximum act of responsibility, but it's hard. It's too hard. Sometimes assume the consequences when you do something wrong. It's complicated, but I think is an exercise of being responsible, and I think we have fear of being judged, assuming these consequences. I think this is the main wall to everyone do that. Our society is built and judge people by your actions, so it's hard to do that.
I totally agree with you, Luis. And what about you, Eduardo? What do you think?
For sure. If you don't assume your consequence, who will? Yeah, you have to assume your consequence, because it was your act.
I also agree with you guys because I think when we assume the consequence of our actions can be good or not, we are being responsible. So I think this is the main point of the discussion. I think we have time to answer one more. Uh, do you usually apologize when you are wrong, Diego?
Yes, I I usually, but I try to apologize when I'm wrong, but it's very difficult. But I try because it's the part of my life, the vision of my life to apologize when I wrong because uh, we have opportunity to grow, yes, to grow and humildade, né? Um ato de humildade. Humildade, sorry. Act of
Don't
humility,
worry.
humility. Yes, act of humility. Uh, because we stop the ego. We need to stop the ego. We need to stop the orgulho, né? Sorry, orgulho,
You don't have to
pride,
be sorry.
pride.
You are
Yes.
right. You are doing the right thing, actually,
Yes.
because you are here to learn.
Yes, I needed to stop the ego, the pride, and apologize when uh, I wrong. I'm wrong.
And what about you, Vinicius?
Yes, I usually apologize when I'm wrong in the most of 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 aspects, but there's some others that we is difficult to break our ego. Man. I think that it's very there's some aspects that we know that we are wrong, and we have uh, try to understand, not understand, try to explain something until can convince the other people, but we know that we are wrong and don't assume.
And what about you, Luis?
Yes, I think I usually apologize, but has the other question, it not always is easy, but I try always to apologize when I was wrong. When people talk I am wrong, I always try to apologize. Of course, it's another act of responsibility.
And what about you, Luis Eduardo?
Sorry. And yeah, I usually apologize when I am wrong, and sometimes when I'm not wrong, I apologize too, because I don't want just because.
In my case, it's not usually even when I'm not wrong. I always apologize for everything. So this is not a big deal for me. And maybe this can be an irresponsible thing, but I'm most of the time I act like this. I always act like this actually. Now I'm going to bring the others back to here because we are running out of time, but I think we have time to one more question. Not everyone will have time to answer, but the last question is, do you think it's easier to blame someone for a mistake or to assume the consequences? What do you think it's easier, Jig?
It's very difficult. but sometimes I think it's easier to blame someone, but sometimes I assume the responsibility. It's very difficult. It depends on the situation.
Yeah, that's true. Hi guys, welcome back. Welcome Leandra, Leandro, Mario.
Hi, thanks.
How was the conversation in your room? Leandro, what do you think about the conversation?
It's so good. I have your opinions, and each person give your explanation. I like it.
That's really nice. And what about you, Leandro?
It's so good, the conversation. So many different in the both opinions in the situations, in the questions. And it is good to you hear the other things, the same situation. Do you open your mind? It's very good. The subject is really reflexive in the situation.
It's really good. Did you have time to answer all the questions?
No, I think stopped in and 90. I think. So let me see.
Did you answer the last question?
No.
And what do you think about the last question? Do you think it's easier to blame someone for your mistake or to assume the consequences? What do you think it's easier?
So for me is the first think is more simple. Do you blame someone, but is the really responsible for your life? Do you responsible your mistake? But now I'm learning. Don't have mistakes. Do you have learning about other things?
That's really good, guys. Guys, unfortunately, we are running out of time of this meeting. I hope all of you have enjoyed the conversation. Guys, for who that are here for the first time, I hope you keep coming to our meetings. We have meetings from Monday to Saturday. You just have to schedule in our website. So at the end of this meeting, you will receive feedback on your email. Please guys answer the feedback because this helps a lot our job here. And I hope to see you in the next Monday, guys. Have a good night. See you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Sure. Have a good
You
night.
bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Evening.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet